Ever decide you wanted to change something, maybe improve something in your life or get rid of a bad behavior or bad habit? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. How to change. Like, what are some of the key steps, first steps? Because sometimes it's really hard to change. And we're going to find out today in this video how your mindset is your greatest asset. So stay tuned and find out how I got my butt off the couch. So, a lot of us want to do change. And I know with New Year's, a lot of people make New Year's resolution, and change is pretty common this time of year. I heard some amazing statistics of how many people actually still make New Year's resolutions, because I know I don't, but hey, that's kind of great. Mind you, I kind of make resolutions a lot. I do a lot of goal setting for myself. So maybe that's why I don't pick just New Year's. Anyways, but quite a few people do make New Year's resolution, and actually a lot of people follow through a lot more than I thought. So I heard one number say about 40% follow through to about 6 months, which kind of surprised me because I kind of thought, oh, people make them and then don't even attempt them. But apparently we do, which is great to hear. Anyway, so with change on the mind in this new year, I was thinking back to something I had wrote down. A lot of times I wake up in the morning and I spend some time, just kind of reflecting on myself, my life, having my morning worship. I'm Christian. And so I was looking back at something I had wrote, and it's kind of an interesting situation. I was sitting there on the couch one morning. I hadn't slept very good. Hadn't been sleeping at that point in time for a few weeks, actually. Well, more like maybe 2 weeks or so. I'd been trying to find a good pillow, and I was going through different kinds of pillows. And every time I switched a pillow, I wasn't used to it. I didn't sleep well, or my neck would crank, or it'd be too soft, it'd be too hard. It's kind of like this Princess and the Pea thing going on. Anyways, I was starting to get some good sleep. A few days of like, okay, I think I found the right pillow. I think I'm getting some sleep. Hey, making headway. Yay. And then the cat decided he wanted dinner at 3 a.m. And he doesn't usually do that. And he's getting old and a little senile, and he's very skinny. So when he wants to eat, I'm like, oh, yay, he wants to eat. Anyways. So I ended up getting up at 3 a.m. And I was just kind of exhausted, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was thinking, I've got to get my housework done. I had company coming the next day. I had to get to town that day. I live about 40 minutes or so from town, and so when I say go to town, it feels like such an effort. So I live in the country, and I don't like going to town. So it's like, oh, gotta go to town. It's like this great big effort. And I'm like, I'm so tired. I just can't. It was so hard to get off the couch. Like, it was so nice to sit in there. It was comfortable, and the kitty was on my lap, and he was warm and soft. And I'm like, oh, it's so nice to sit here. And it's so hard to get up, and I'm so tired. And I kind of sat there, and I realized what I was telling myself was preventing me from the behavior I wanted, from that change. Because I was telling myself how wonderful it was to stay on the couch, and how wonderful it was to have the kitty on my lap, even though he's the one that woke me up. And just the warm, fuzzy feelings that I had, and how hard it was to get off the couch, and how tired I was. And all these things were true. They were true statements. But because I was repeating these statements over and over, and I was sort of validating this little moment that I was in, it made it so that I wasn't actually choosing to get off the couch. And I realized it wasn't physically hard for me to get off the couch. I mean, I don't have a physical disability where I'm like, oh, I can't, I'm glued, I'm stuck. Or the couch, well, sometimes it is hard to get on my couch. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But so yeah, I was like, really, it's not hard to get out of the couch. I just don't want to. Yeah, that's really what it is. That's really what it comes down to. So often I have clients say, I really can't get motivated. I need to get motivated. I'm not motivated. And it's the one thing I can't provide as a clinician, as a therapist. I can't provide motivation. I can provide tools that help you with your thinking process, that help you to, decide I'm going to change. We can go in that direction. I can't actually motivate you to change, and I can't make the decision to change for you, just like no one can do that for me. And so as I was like writing all this down, and I'm like, you know what? It really isn't that hard for me to get off the couch. It's really that I don't want to. And all these thoughts of how wonderful it is to be here and how not so wonderful it is if I got up, because I have to clean the house and get ready for town and all that stuff. That's why it was hard to get off the couch. So these thoughts that we tell ourselves are extremely important in terms of behavior change. And so if you're creating a New Year's resolution, or even if it's not a New Year's resolution, you might be watching this any time of the year, but there's some kind of behavior change you want to make, an improvement in your life or get rid of a bad habit. The very first step, of course, is wanting it. And that's not the same thing as being motivated, right? Like I did kind of want to get off the couch because I wanted to have my house clean for the company that was coming the next day. And I knew if I didn't do it in the morning, I wouldn't have time after because, like I say, I want to go to town. It's a whole day trip. So I knew all of that. And I did want a clean house. But I also was really enjoying sitting there with the cat and thinking of comfortable. And so my mindset was kind of wrapped in that moment, right? In that feel good moment. And I don't want to face the world yet kind of mindset. Anyways, I have videos on thought process and change and motivation. So I don't want to get too far into that. I just really wanted to focus on this video on, okay, what do you do about it? And that is the thinking process. So it's what you tell yourself matters. And so when you're sitting there and you want to get off the couch, you can just sit there and think about all the wonderful things about sitting on the couch, or whatever it is, the behavior that it is you're doing that you don't want to be doing, how delicious this donut smells and tastes, and how much you would really like it, and how it feels so good and so rewarding. And you know what I'm saying? Like you just keep telling yourself all these statements, and some of them are factual statements, and some of them are actually positive distortions, right? Like you're magnifying the importance of how wonderful this is. I mean, really, how wonderful is it to just sit on a couch? I'm not sure that that's like super duper wonderful compared to like enjoying the day with friends, right? So that's what we call a positive distortion, where I'm magnifying how wonderful it is to sit on the couch, and I'm magnifying magnifying how hard it is to get up, and how miserable I'll be trying to clean the house, which is totally inaccurate. But that's where the thinking goes. So when we can control those thoughts and we can start, I don't know if control is the right word. We identify them, that they're happening, and then we say, wait a minute, let's see here. What are my priorities? Like, let me look at the whole picture. Let me see the whole truth, not just part of the truth. Yes, it's true. The couch is warm and comfortable and the kitty's soft and friendly. But it's also true that I'm excited to have company over, and I want to cook this great meal for them. And I would like to have a clean house because I feel more relaxed when there's not junk everywhere and dirt everywhere. And I also have to go to town. Like that was non-negotiable, had an appointment. And so I did want to do that. I wanted to feel my responsibilities. And those are things I did want to do, and so I could focus on that instead. I could say, okay, yeah, it is nice to sit on the couch, but I also want to get my house clean and be prepared for my company. And it's going to be wonderful when they come over, and I could take my thoughts in that direction, in the direction of the change. So if I'm already thinking about the change and how much I want it, and start listing all the advantages and those things, that can really help me with that change. And then I can also address the disadvantages, right? Like, yeah, it is comfortable here, and I did not have a good night's sleep, and I can acknowledge that. I don't need to, it's not positive thinking. I don't want you to go that direction, because that actually can lead to some issues too. We want to be real. Let's be real, right? We're real people with real problems. That's what I keep saying at the end of every video. And so be real and honest, because it's the truth that'll set you free. It's the truth that's going to empower you to change and get you forward with these New Year's resolutions. So There's some actual worksheets and tools that I've used in the past for stuff like this. Call like you could actually create like a little worksheet for yourself. Get a piece of paper, put a line down the middle, and put down these tempting thoughts, right? Like what tempts you when you want to make this behavior change? So the behavior change could be doing something like exercise, or it might be not doing something like eating too much sugar. And so you list what are the temptation thoughts that happen when you're doing that. Like, well, I walk in the room and I smell the cookies, even though they're wrapped in a package. Right? I have smell memories. I can walk in a room and smell donuts, and people are like, "What?" Like, And yeah, and you could sit there with that and think, how wonderful that smells. Or you can go, okay, that's a tempting thought. Yeah, they do taste pretty good, but it's going to last for 5 minutes, but the pounds won't. And so you write down your tempting thought, and then you write down a self-control thought. That's like, how do you address this tempting thought? And the self-control thought has to be two things. One, it has to be true, 100% true. If it's only 99% true, it won't work. And so just keep tweaking it till you get to 100% true. You can be like, yeah, that's partly true. Well, ask yourself, what would make it 100% true? And try and get that positive thought. And I say positive thought, it may not be positive, like I'm going to get, even more tired if I keep gaining weight. That's not necessarily positive in the positive sense, but it positively moves you toward change. How's that? That's why it's a positive thought. So that's why I like to say self-control thoughts, and I was getting them a little mixed up. So apologize for that. So the self-control thought can be positive, as in positive, like happy, or it could be negative, right? It could be like, this is the downside of if I don't do this, this is going to happen. So it can be either way, whatever works for you. But it's number one, it's got to be true, 100% true. And number two, it's got to crush that tempting thought. It's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, that tempting thought is still true, but it's crushed. Like I'm like, you know what? I need to move forward. I want to do this change, and I am going to step forward and get off the couch, so to speak, in my situation. So yeah, tempting thoughts, self-control thoughts, write them out. And every time you get new ones, write them down. And it took me one time, I was trying to walk the dog. I'm trying to walk the dog, but I wouldn't get off the couch. The couch has some kind of vortex field. I don't know. There's something going on with that couch. Anyway, I was trying to walk the dog, and it took me probably a week to really get all my tempting thoughts down and my self-control thoughts down. Cause I'm like, oh, well, I had just like 2 or 3 tempting thoughts and I crushed them. But then when I was sitting on the couch, more came up, like, oh, my hips are going to hurt. Cause I have some tears and things in my hips, and one hip, excuse me, not hips, but I'm waiting for surgery for. And if I overdo, it hurts. And I just came up with more and more excuses. I'm like, I got to write these down. So I wrote them down, and then I couldn't necessarily come up with a self-control thought right away. I was like, no, that's true. It's just going to be too hard. And it took me a day or so. So don't give up. Like it doesn't always come easy. It doesn't come easy to have these self-control thoughts so you can move forward and change. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful. It was just sort of a taste of how our thinking impacts our behavior in kind of a practical way in my own life, as far as change, and hopefully it'll help you with your New Year's resolutions. So remember, we are all real people, so please be kind in the comments. We have real problems and real feelings. So I encourage you to please subscribe. And like this video if you like this video, share it with your friends. I will make more videos if these are helpful, and I don't want to waste your time or mine. So hey, let me know. Is this working for you? Is it not working for you? What kind of topics would you like to hear me talk about next?